Okay, this is the fourth lecture in the history course from the beginning to or through the time of Jesus Christ. Now, we're going to talk about spiritual creation in this lecture and in the next two lectures. What I would like to make specific a reference to today also is the validity of our sources. Now, history has become a very scientific endeavor, and you must have original sources to validate everything. There was a book written a few years ago that had no sources, and that has been pretty well debunked by the historians that do use original sources. And the historian who wrote the book, the so-called historian, has been relegated to, well, we don't believe in him and we don't believe anything he writes anymore because he didn't have sources, even if they were secondary or tertiary, which means third hand. He didn't have any original sources to validate what he was saying in his history book. So the question becomes for us, are the scriptures, the book of Moses, the book of Abraham, and the book of Genesis, which we are studying at the moment, are they valid sources? Are they original sources? Well, the answer is yes. Not everybody believes that, but they are original sources, particularly Moses and Abraham. And the reason for that is that Abraham, the book of Abraham, came by way of a papyrus that was sold to Joseph, and Joseph translated it. And so that's a very original course, a source, a very original source that people out there in the scientific world and the scientific historians would accept. Now, another source, another original source, is the Lord himself. And Joseph received the book of Moses that's in the Pearl of Great Price directly from the Lord. The Lord restored what was missing from Genesis in the Bible, in what Moses had written in Genesis. And in case you're not familiar, Moses wrote the first 5 books of the Bible. Okay? And what we have come to find out through the restored part of the book of Moses that the Lord has given us is that we are missing between half and 2/3 of the beginning of Genesis. So is it original source? Well, I don't know what more original or valid source you could get than the Lord himself. So yes, it is a valid original source. What about the Genesis account? Well, the Genesis account, people are correct that it has gone through many, many people for many, many years. And it has changed, and it was changed, and things were taken out, and things were changed in it. And thankfully, the Lord has raised up a prophet in the modern day in the person of Joseph Smith Jr., and we do have the full account now in the book of Moses in the Pearl of Great Price. So is the Genesis account valid? Yes, in as far as it goes along with the account that Moses originally wrote and the Lord dictated to Joseph Smith. As long as it goes along with that account, it is valid. Okay, so that should help you a little bit as you study this, that these accounts are valid, that they are original sources. You can't get more original than the Lord. He was there. He supervised the organization of the earth, and so, you can't get better than that. Okay, so what is our assignment? Well, our assignment in this lecture and the next two is to compare the 3 accounts we have of the spiritual creation. Remember, there are 4 beginnings: the planning, the spiritual creation, the physical creation, and then the temporal creation. So we're going to be talking about the spiritual creation. what I would like you to do is take your composition book, and I would like you, or you can do this on a piece of paper that goes right into your notebook if you want to. This is perfectly legit. Okay, in fact, I would prefer that you do this on notebook paper. What I want you to do is to fold your piece of notebook paper vertically into thirds. Measure it out, use your ruler, make it nice and neat. Fold it into two thirds. Then, on the top of the first column, you are going to put Moses, chapter 2, verses 1 through 39. You can just put 2:1-31, not 39, excuse me. Moses 2:1-31 and 3:1-5. Okay, that's for the first column on the left. For the middle column, you're going to put Abraham 4:1-31 and 5:1-6. Then on the third column, you're going to put at the very top Genesis 1:1-31 and 2:1-5. Now, you're going to see quite a similarity between these already, aren't you? That they take the same number of verses, except for Abraham, who seems to have one more verse about the spiritual creation. Now, your assignment today is to read Moses. And what I want you to do is put down in that left-hand column what happens the first day. That should go about halfway down on your first page there, and then you use the second half of the page to say what happened on the second day of the spiritual creation. Then flip your page over. Again, put your columns, put your designation of the columns at the top of the page, and then the top half of your page, you're going to divide it into day 3 and 4, and then you're going to do a third page where you make it for the 5th and 6th day. And remember to put your designations of Moses, Abraham, and Genesis at the very top of the page. So that is what you're going to do. Today, your assignment is Moses 2, verses 1-31, and chapter 3, verses 1-5. And I want you to put down on your page what happened in each day of creation. And remember, you get the top half of the first page for day 1, the bottom half for day 2 in that left-hand column. So when you are finished with this, you will have a comparative study of the three sources, our three primary sources of the spiritual creation. You will have Moses, you'll have Abraham, and you will have Genesis. And that is going to be quite an interesting study for you. How similar are they? How similar are they? Now, I don't want you to copy the text down. I just want you to put down what was created. Okay? Just what was created, what happened on those particular days. Okay, well, that's it for today. Get to it. As I said, you should keep your scriptures out because we will be using them, and we will be using them considerably during this course. So please, and please be aware, if you have any doubt as to whether this is a valid primary source of information, please get down on your knees and ask your Heavenly Father, is this a valid account? And I'm sure you will find that it is. We'll see you in tomorrow's lecture.